But the federal government said it's only discharge, not acquitted. Is that not so? So the reason is best known to the federal government what they said. It's only discharge, not acquitted. It's the Attorney General of the Federation that interpreted, and it is chief number one law in the country. So the reason why I said the federal government only discharge him, not acquitted.
Federal government, they are not conducting the affairs of the judiciary like a democratic nation. They are behaving as if we are under military rule. When a court discharge and acquit somebody, you allow the person to go if you want to obey the rule of law. And any democratic setting, any democratic country that's not obeying the rule of law, we cannot call it a democracy. You understand me? It is a court of law. Yeah. Federal government are the one who charged him to court, and they brought the charges. And the court nullified all the charges and discharged this man and acquitted him. You are the one who took him to court. If you are not ready to obey the court order, why did you take him to court? So federal government is at fault. For not allowing him to go is at fault. And his being kept there will not stop the agitation.
Before they said they want to charge a new case against him, maybe the federal government, they have done a lot of, maybe they did a fresh investigation. They felt that the next thing to do for him is to charge him new case. To give him new charges again. So that's the reason. The federal government will know the best reason why they are doing that subject.
You see, we are trying to force ourselves together. In the beginning, Nigeria was not one nation. If we were one, British government wouldn't have done amalgamation. In 1914. Yes, sir. The law regard amalgamation means they didn't amalgamate Ghana. They didn't amalgamate India because they are one people. But Nigeria is the only British colony that was amalgamated, which means we were not one. We were three sets of people, east, west, north. They brought us together. The north was exporting groundnut, cotton, rice and skin, to run the economy. The west was doing exporting cocoa, cola nut, timber, rubber, and palm oil from Midwest, while the east was exporting coal and palm oil. And everybody was running their system. Awolowo was using he introduced free education, built industrial estates, built universities. You understand me? And the other regions imitated what Awolowo did. You understand? So if even the amalgamation of Lord Lugard says after 100 years, if any part of the country feels that it doesn't want to belong to that political entity called Nigeria, they are free to go. So Kanu's agitation is not against the law.
Honestly, when you look at our entire judicial system, it's in the ruin, it's in tattered. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not the only person in the same shoe. Previously, Major Hamza Al-Mustafa entered the same dungeon. Sheikh Ibrahim El-Zakzaky is facing the same dungeon. So Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will not be the first and the last person. The judicial system need to be rectified, need to be appropriately set up in a very good manner, so that if A is A in law, let it be A in law, not A applicable elsewhere and B applicable elsewhere. And at the same time, you and I, and whoever is in Nigeria and the world at large, knows the issues of Nnamdi Kanu. And you know what it is, and you know what is treason, and you know what is treasonable felony. You have the videos, I have the videos. You have his utterances, I have his utterances. And you know what is an agitation to divide a whole country. For a country that is one and somebody is agitating to divide, no sane government, no responsible government will allow that person to go scot-free, whether Nnamdi Kanu, whether anybody in Nigeria. So let us face it squarely that for him, first of all, let him recant and repent that he is now a true Nigerian before any other consideration for amnesty or whatever. I'm not against even releasing him today. It will not cost me a dime, and I will not be happy to see a fellow Nigerian being detained in a chance or whatever. But let him also consider other people's fate, because people die severally because of him. Millions are losing their lives. Other peoples from other geopolitical dons are living in risk as a result of his venture. So let us tell ourselves the reality. Let them conduct a referendum there. If they are ready to go, allow them to go, instead of this unnecessary bloodshed everywhere. Because by the time you kill 1, 2, 3 reprisal attacks will kill hundreds of them, another reprisal attack. So why? Is he the only Nigerian or is he the only Igbo? We should know, you know the implication of treasonable felony, and you are here canvassing that. I know, you and I know that the judicial system is wrong. Even the constitution itself is wrong. But we have to have a honest attitude to be able to call a spade a spade.
It will not ease the agitation. It will not even solve the problems. Because a person you have stayed with, even like marriage, and the person came to see that the marriage is not working and decides that he wants to go, do you need to force him? You understand? You see, what the government has succeeded in doing is to make us believe that we don't have a government. As I stand here, I will tell you clearly that we don't have a government. What we have are people who have organized themselves and used people who couldn't think for themselves to amass wealth for themselves and decide for us. The commonsensical definition of democracy is a government of the people, for the people, by the people. Now, who is the federal government? Is it an institution that exists in the space, or it is you and I? And if you have domiciled the powers of the federal government to a court to take a decision, in my understanding, the court is the arbiter, and the court is independent. The decision of the court is derived from the Constitution, either the interpretation and the application of the Constitution in relation to the case in question. All those have been done. Even the extradition, which everybody knows is wrong, very, very illegal. The government is claiming it's right because they are in power. Maybe tomorrow, if they are not in power, they will now agree that it was wrong for them to have done what they did. Now, the court, I am sure Nnamdi Kanu nor Easterners were responsible for the judges, for the appointment of the judges that passed those judgments. The judges looked at the merit of the case, the law, and holistically took a decision that by what we have, this person has been discharged and acquitted. I don't know where Malami got his own ideology of law, but I know that there are more brilliant lawyers than Malami. Maybe from the party perspective, they just picked him. He had worked for CPC and worked for APC. And this is the first time in the history of this country that I saw an attorney general, a justice minister, reducing himself to what Nigerians never saw of any attorney general. You understand? Of a justice minister. Somebody will pass, we all went to school. Myself talking to you, I'm a lecturer. Somebody who went to school and said he is, or they appointed him a justice minister, who now says somebody is discharged, is not acquitted. Maybe in legal parlance, we are getting that as a new dimension. And I know those who know this law more than Malami will tell him you don't know what you are doing. I follow the sequence of judgments and the arguments. Mike Ezekume messed up all the lawyers of the federal government because they didn't know what they came for. They did not have a sense of direction. They just leveled allegations against Nnamdi Kanu because Nnamdi Kanu came out and said the East must go. As I stand here, I don't believe in one Nigeria. I am not claustrophobic. I'm not afraid of anybody. Nigeria can never be one because, number one, the oil in the southeast is what the north is living on. They kept their own gold. Now, what brought the agitations that brought the Biafran war were the same agitations that came back. If we were meant to be one and we really wanted to be one, the government in place will address those agitations. You understand? Pregnantly, justly, fairly, without any partisan bias or politics. We are talking of a referendum. This government, can it ever accept a referendum? I want to ask you, yes or no? No, you should say. They won't accept referendum. By what means do you think this country has to break? Let us sit on a round table conference or on a round table and agree to divide Nigeria. You said no. When Atiku emerged, Tinubu emerged, P2B, I said, oh, this is wonderful, it's aesthetical. Let us sit on a round table, divide. Those who believe in Tinubu, let them go. And I know Yorubas can never allow Tinubu to rule over them. The North, you saw what they did to Atiku in Borno. That means they don't accept him. The Igbos wholeheartedly will accept P2B. I'm telling you, South, South, Southeast, Middle Belt, we will accept him because he has proved his mettle. He has proved that he has the competence, even by character and the pedigree, to rule his own people. Why are we wasting time? All these things they are doing, that they are saying, no, Nnamdi Kanu, fresh charges, the government is wasting his time. Let them forget. Let them not forget that after this government, another government will come in. And if you think you have monopoly because you are in government, tomorrow you may not be in government. You understand? So I don't think people like Malami and co are sitting to think well, because if they are thinking well, they will know that today you are in power, tomorrow you will not be in power. I have related with people who were in power when they left. Look at Buhari, who had no money to buy from because he was not in power. Now they are the richest people everywhere. If somebody should ask you how did they become rich, what will you say? Because they are in government.